Hello guys, and welcome to a new War Thunder video today by me, Vulcan. Today I'm going to be looking at the American Navy fighters. Now this includes the Corsair, the Wildcats and the Hellcat. Now these were all carrier-borne aircraft. They basically all took off and landed on aircraft carriers at one time or another. I've got these two Wildcats here, the F4F3 and the F4F4. And I've also got the F4F3 and the F4FU, which is the Corsair. Now, the F4F3 was basically one of the first carrier-borne aircraft that the American had. Then it got upgraded to the F4F, which was basically more armoured. They had bulletproof glass, extra machine guns. There was 2 extra machine guns. And yeah, but the reason these weren't used so much compared to the Hellcat was the Hellcat was a lot more successful when this came out, and also with the folded wings it allowed it to basically be a lot more space effective in a carrier, allowing the carriers to hold about 50% more planes on their deck and underneath in the hangars. Then there's the Corsair, which was supposed to be an upgrade to the Hellcat with its folding wings again, but ultimately wasn't in the end, and the Hellcat actually took all the glory. I think in the stats on the hangar, if we go into the information, it says that the F4F3 was known for its superb speed and above average maneuverability. The Hellcats destroyed 5,156 enemy planes, 75% of all kills scored by the USA's naval force in World War II. So they were very effective planes, and they are in this game as well. Now, US planes get beaten up a lot for being machine guns only most of the time. I think only the Cobras, which I'm not going to show today, but the Cobra has a cannon in its nose. The Navy-borne aircraft never really had a serious armament. They just had the machine gun capabilities that allowed them to shoot down enemy Zeros and so on, because they were only ever fighter versus fighter. They never had any other role. So the idea of a carrier was that it would be there to provide its fleet the air support and air coverage to shoot down enemy air threat. And that's basically where the Wildcat and the Hellcat came in very, very, very useful, because they provided that air superiority. Anyway, I'm sure you'd love to know how these get on in battle, so let's have a look. Now, in the last video, a lot of you looked at the IL-2, and I looked at the IL-2, and I wasn't very impressed with it. As soon as I can, I'll do another video on it, basically with the in historical mode, because I think that it would be a lot more effective in that. But at the moment, the Russians are disabled in historical, so that's not great. Anyway, let's not talk about that. We're on Wake Island. Or also known as the Lonely Island on this game, and we're on ground strike. Well, this is quite a nice map for this because it suits the setting quite nicely. So let's start off in the F4F3 Wildcat. We're going to do these in chronological order. So first of all, we're going to go F4F3, F4F4, then F6F3, and then the F4U1A. Now, somebody actually requested these, so hopefully I can do them justice. I have had a little bit of practice with them before because I used them while I was leveling up, but here we go. First of all, the Wildcat. Now, the Wildcat kind of suffers from, when it loses its speed, it goes extremely slow and it really struggles to climb again, whereas things like the Corsair and the Hellcat are very good at climbing. But yeah, because of its clipped wing design, which was primarily for carriers, it doesn't actually perform as well as it possibly could. So we'll see anyway. Once we get into the range of enemy fighters, we can see how much damage we can actually do with the 4 machine guns that we have on this particular aircraft. So we've got a BF-109 distance over there. Most of the planes are actually on the left, however, so I'm going to actually bring myself across to take care of some of these. Now, a Hurricane would probably be around the same sort of performance level as this. This is a rank 5 aircraft, So we're looking at things like the AM or A5M20 that we really want to get into a dogfight with. They're the sort of ones that would be comparable. There's another F4F down here, that's the Hellcat. Let's see if we can damage this guy. Actually, it's another Wildcat. It's actually a Wildcat. I get confused with all the F4F and F4F 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's all sorts of different numbers and stuff that come with the American aircraft, which gets really confusing, especially when trying to identify American aircraft from a distance. We've always got like the different numbers on the Air Cobras and stuff. I'm not going to try and dive down with that guy because, to be honest, I don't really feel that I want to get too low with his aircraft because it could potentially... Oh, I got an aircraft destroyed for that. He looks like he crashed, but there we go. Right, we got an H6K. Going very slow, so let's try and take advantage of that. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that his machine guns and his machine gunners might actually be pretty damaging to me, so we have to be pretty careful trying to kill them. But no, we're not going to be able to do much damage to him. He looks like he's actually really damaged my plane there, unfortunately. Yep, well, there we go. Better slow down the engine because I'm actually on fire. With his H6K, is he diving? My plane is currently destroying itself. Yeah, probably wasn't the best idea to try and take on that H6K on my own, especially from the back where most of the gunners can fire. I've done a video on the Japanese before. Basically, those H6Ks have a gunner on the front, a gunner on the back, and 2 gunners on each side. And I believe a gunner underneath, maybe? But anyway, every single gunner on the aircraft can fire backwards. So you never want to attack one of those aircraft from the back. So that was probably the biggest mistake I could have made. Anyway, hopefully you'll forgive me for that. And we'll move on to the 6 machine gun version of the Wildcat before moving on to the Hellcat. Now this is a little bit more powerful. You kind of really see the difference when you come on 1v1 versus fighters with the 6 machine guns, because although people don't necessarily like machine guns in War Thunder, they are very effective. You just got to kind of give them a chance. They really do require you to be accurate, but if you're patient and you stick on someone's tail, then you can do the damage you potentially want to deal. Anyway, let's try and take out some of these bombers because they are really damaging us and our fleet, and it's not going too well. Actually, we might have to take care of the F4U first, which is the enemy Corsair. Did get a hit there. Good combat flaps. We'll try and chase him. Whoa, hello. That was very close. It looks like we're going to be able to pull around onto his tail. Now the Corsair isn't actually that maneuverable. I'm trying not to hit my friendly there. Critical hit. Come on, die for me. There we go. Wings off. Unfortunately, that D5-20 didn't survive, but we still got rid of the Corsair. So let's move on to the PE3, which should potentially be moving a lot faster than it actually is. Looks like he's going a lot slower than he should be, but there we go. Allows us to catch onto his tail. Gonna come up on the side of him before trying to shoot him down. Now I'm in range. If he doesn't move, we can shoot him down. Looks like we've got another F4F4 Wildcat chasing this guy. We got someone on our tail. An L4. Okay, we don't have to worry too bad. Looks like we helped that F4F though take down that aircraft, and it looks like the L4 has gone down as well, so we can move on to the D3A1. Now it's quite funny because I'm actually being a carrier protector here, or a ship protector, which is actually the role of the Wildcat specifically. So it's quite nice to actually fill the actual role. I think that was a problem with the L2. We didn't really get it in the right theatre. Like, yeah, we got it into ground strike, but what I mean is that especially with historical, it's really good for that. It gets you into the actual place where the aircraft was supposed to be, and it allows you to actually measure its performance more accurately because of that. We're trying to climb up now towards this BB-1. Very nice ground attack aircraft. Now unfortunately he's managed to get up speed before I can, so looks like he will be pulling away from me. Let's try and catch up to him before he can deal too much damage to our destroyers. Looks like he will get off his bombs though, unfortunately. So let's pull over to the Ju-88. 440 kilometers per hour, not the fastest plane. Looks like the BB-1 actually missed most of its bombs because the destroyer is moving forwards. Holy crap, okay, the Ju-88 pretty much just destroyed himself. Let's see if we can finish off this BB-1 without crashing into the Hurricane. And we are out of ammo. That was one problem with the Wildcat. It had very low ammo. And the BF-109F comes in for the kill. Not too concerned about that. I was reloading after all. Maybe if I was shooting him at the same time and then he came down and stole that kill, then I would have been quite pissed off. But we still have a Ju-88 here to shoot down, and he is turning into me for some reason. We are hitting him with all our bullets, pretty much. But it looks like that's the actual end of the game there, for some reason. That ended very quickly. I don't know if we lost or won or what, but I got a couple of kills. Going to go straight into another game because obviously I want to show you the Hellcat and the Corsair. Well, it looks like we got Ground Strike Gorge. We're gonna start off with the Hellcat for this one. Now the Hellcat is a very nice fighter. I believe in previous games I've got about 5 kills with this. It's quite a modest amount, but definitely performs well. It's just very maneuverable, and it can climb very quickly. You see, this wing design was something that really helped it. These wings actually fold up for the carriers, but the idea is that because it's slightly wider wingspan than the Wildcat, it allowed it to climb faster, be more maneuverable in general, and allows it to roll quicker, stuff like that. And it generally helps out the plane. Now the engine isn't great. Again, it's one of those planes that really gets stuck if you go too slow, but it picks up a speed a lot faster than the Wildcats, so don't get too worried. The only trouble is you're going to have to be worried about energy fighters in particular, things like Air Cobras, the Yak series, stuff like that, because their cannons can really start to damage you if you're not careful. Now I'm going to lock onto this SU-2, see if we can take him down before he drops his bombs. There he goes. As soon as you get the guns on target, they go down. That's pretty much how it is with the Hellcat. Just make sure you keep the sustained fire going, and you should be alright. Pulled away from that quickly. You should be able to come around onto the Spitfire. Unfortunately, the Spitfire is actually a lot faster than I am. So what I'm going to have to, it turns a lot quicker than I do. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm actually going to take advantage of this dive here and go for this artillery. Just get a nice ground kill on the way down. And we'll come past this AA and stuff and get some more kills. Easy way to get XP if you're playing as a fighter. Just pepper the AA down on the ground. And Spitfire's still trying to fire at me from 900 meters away. I'm using my speed to just get as far away as possible. He has actually probably run out of ammo now. But holy crap. Okay. A lucky AA shot there just ripped off the rear of my plane. Wow, that's unfortunate. Let's get on to the Corsair. And I'll possibly go back to the Wildcat because obviously I finished the game halfway through using that. So we've still got plenty to get through. Let's get on to the Corsair. Now I didn't want to go into a full-on dogfight with that Spitfire purely because the Spitfires can turn very quickly. When they're at lower speed they perform a lot better than they do at faster speed. So for me that's not good because my Hellcat's pretty much the opposite. At faster speeds around 300 to 400 you can outturn your enemy. You can out-dogfight your enemy. But as soon as you go below about 300 in the Hellcat you get really slow and you can't turn very fast and it doesn't help at all. But the Spitfire, however, between 200 and 300 kilometers per hour, the Spitfire is very effective. Can turn very quickly, doesn't really suffer from losing altitude, just is very effective. Anyway, there's an AR2 here, so we're going to try and take this out. can keep the guns on target. It should be good to get that. Unfortunately not. Now, I don't want to lose too much speed. Now, the Corsair isn't particularly an energy fighter, but it does like to have its speed, just purely to help it along. There's that I-153 taking on this P3, which is actually asking for help. So we're going to come in and hopefully help out. Yep, he's dead. Got the Bomber Rescuer, an extra 500 XP. It's the beauty of speed. And we're going to come back into the middle valley, into the gorge here, and see what else we can do to help out. And the Corsair's never a plane you want to get in a dogfight with, but again, it's not exactly an energy fighter. You just want to be able to support your friends, like your teammates, because it just can't stay on people's tails as well as you'd possibly want. And it can climb very quickly, which is just as well, because there was a massive cliff there. We did get a critical hit onto that SU-2, but I didn't even get an assist for killing it, so that's a bit unfortunate, but not too worried. My engine's just about to cut out, that's what I'm worried about. Where am I going to go then? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? It looks like we're probably going to get shot down before I can do anything, to be honest. By a Japanese plane. How fitting. How fitting. A nice fitting death. But is he just going to go straight past me? I don't know. Well, anyway, it looks like we're just going to have to land down here because we're too damaged to do anything else. Let's get the gear down, the flaps down. Come in for a nice risky landing. We are going quite fast, but I have a feeling we might get shot down as we're trying to land. This is not the ideal place to land on a road, but oh, you can do it and you get the soft landing bonus, so it's always good to try and land if you can. Gonna try and get it on the ground at some point. Land by our Tigers, which doesn't really make sense because I'm in an American plane, but there we go, we're down on the ground, and apparently the Corsair is bigger than a Tiger? Okay, I think there's a bit of a scale issue going on there. No engine required and soft landing, and we're going to leave the aircraft here. Now I'm not sure if that gave anyone a shot down, but let's go back on to the F4F and see if we can deal any more damage than we did in the last game. So anyway, the Corsair and the Hellcat are obviously the better ones. They are higher rank. This Wildcat is actually rank 7, same as the Hellcat. But I would definitely say the Hellcat's probably the best of the lot. Unfortunately, I kind of got luck shot down there by the AA, which was kind of frustrating, but never mind. Let's go on to this AR2. Combat flaps engaged. Now the reason I'm shooting ahead of the reticule here, holy crap. Really? Oh wow. Okay. Sorry, pilot. We just got taken out by a teammate. Frustrating. Really frustrating. Let's just finish off with the other F4F because things are not going well. I'm sorry for not bringing really good games. I did really well in my Italian planes one. I did like 11 kills or 12 kills or whatever it was. But in this and the last one, like I got 2 kills in the last one, but that was mainly because it ended really quickly. But this has just been terrible. Like we're on 2 kills, 2 ground kills. That's just not like me at all. I'd like to just sort of play a game where you can get a lot of kills. Unfortunately, that's not really going to happen with planes I don't play very often, I guess. Anyway, let's see what we can do with the last Navy aircraft that I have. The last Navy fighter. US Navy fighters! Oh dear, G50, get on my way. Come on, guns, get on target. Should have gone into cockpit view there. See if we can collapse back down onto the lag 3. Yep, looks like we're going to be able to. There we go, we got him. Another plane to add. It's an SU-2 here. Come on, don't waste my ammo, please. Just die. Die, goddammit. Yeah, sorry mate, you're going into the mountain. And we're like deadly on fire. Holy crap, how are we still alive? Like, surely the pilot would have died by now. I'm actually trying to turn off the engine, but it didn't really work out too well. Anyway, that's the end of that chapter. Navy fighters. Not the best fighters in the game, but definitely reasonably good. I like the Hellcat, I must say. And the Corsair does do well. It's quite robust. It can stay in the air for a long period of time under a lot of fire. From machine guns, I would say, because cannons just tear it apart. But I guess it's the same with most planes. Cannons are just really good. I wouldn't say they're overpowered, because they're not in a lot of ways. But anyway, that's been the US Navy fighters. Hopefully this has been a enjoyable video to watch. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.